Friends, let us journey towards Great Wall of China. The extensive bulwark erected in ancient China, one of the largest building construction projects ever undertaken. The Great Wall actually consists of numerous walls, many of them parallel to each other, built over some 2 millennia across northern China and southern Mongolia. The most extensive and best preserved version of the wall dates from the Ming Dynasty and runs for some 5,500 miles east to west from Mount Hu near Dandong, southern Liaoping province to Jiu Pass west of Jingyuan, northern West Gansu province. This wall often traces the crest lines of hills and mountains as it snakes across the Chinese countryside, and about 1/4 of its length consists solely of natural barriers such as rivers and mountain ridges. Nearly all of the rest is actually constructed wall with the small remaining stretches, ditches or moats. Although lengthy sections of the wall are now in ruins or have disappeared completely, it is still one of the more remarkable structures on earth. It was designed a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1987. Large parts of the fortification system date from the 7th through the 4th century BCE. In the 3rd century BCE, Xuanri, Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of United China, under the Qin dynasty, connected a number of existing defensive walls into a single system. Traditionally, the eastern terminus of the wall was considered to be Shanhai Pass, Shanhaiguan, in eastern Hebei province along the coast of the Bohai Gulf of Chilil, and the wall's length without its branches and other secondary sections was through to extend from 4160 miles. However, government-sponsored investigations that began in the 1990s revealed sections of the wall in Liaoning, and aerial and satellite surveillance eventually proved that this was stretched continuously through much of the province. The greater total length of the Ming Wall was announced in 2009. The history of construction of the wall developed from the disparate border fortifications and castles of individual Chinese kingdoms. For several centuries, these kingdoms probably were as concerned with protection from their near neighbors as they were with the threat of barbarian invasions or raids. About the 7th century BCE, the state of Chu started to construct a permanent defensive system known as the Square Wall. This fortification was situated in the northern part of the kingdom's capital province. From the 6th to 4th century, other states followed Chu's example. In the southern part of the Qi state, an extensive perimeter wall was gradually created using existing river diks, newly constructed bulwarks, and areas of impassable mountain terrain. The Qi wall was made mainly of earth and stone and terminated at the shores of the Yellow Sea. In the Zhongshan state, a wall system was built to thwart invasions from the state of Zhou and Qin in the southwest. There were 2 defensive lines in the Wei state, the Hexi and Henan walls. The Hexi wall was a fortification against the Qin state and western nomads, built during the reign of King Hui 370 to 335 BCE. It was expanded from the dikes on the Lao River on the western border. It started in the south near Zhuang Cave east of Mount Hua and ended at Guiyang in what is now the Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region. Henan Wall, built to protect Dalian, the capital now Kaifeng, was repaired. and extended. In King Hui's later years, the Zheng state also built a wall system which was rebuilt by the Han state after it conquered Zheng. The state of Zhao completed a southern wall and a northern wall. The southern wall was built mainly as defense against the Wei state. After administrative reorganization was carried out by Shang Yan, died in 338 BCE, the Qin state grew politically and militarily to become the strongest among the seven states, but it was frequently raided by the Donghu and Lofan, two nomadic peoples from the north. Therefore, the Qin erected a wall that started from Linishiao, went north along the Liupan mountains and ended at the Wang He, that is the Yellow River. In the Yan state, two separate defensive lines were prepared, the northern wall and the Yushui wall, in an effort to defend the kingdom from attacks by northern groups such as the Donghu, Linyu and Lofan, as well as by the Qi state in the south. The Yushui wall was expanded from the dikes of the Wei River as a defense line against Qi and Zhao, its two main rival states. It began southwest of Yi city, the capital, and ended south of Wenan. In 290 BC, the Yan state built the northern wall along the Yan mountain, starting from the northeast in the area of Zhangjiakou and Hebal, passing over the Liu River and extending to the ancient city of Jingpeng, modern Liuyang. This was the last segment of the Great Wall to be erected during the Zhangao period. In 221 BCE, Xianggudi, the first Qin emperor, completed his annexation of Qi and thus unified China. He ordered removal of the fortifications set up between the previous states because they serve only as obstacles to internal movements and administration. In addition, he sent General Meng Tian to garrison the northern border against incursions of the nomadic Jingagnu and to link the existing wall segments in Qin Yan and Zhao into the so-called 10,000 li long wall. This period of construction began about 214 BC and lasted a decade. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers and conscripted workers labored on the project. With the fall of the Qin dynasty after Xianggudi's death, however, the wall was left largely ungarrisoned and fell into disrepair. The Han through Yuan dynasty during the reign of the Han Emperor Haodi in 141 to 87 BCE. The wall was strengthened as part of an overall campaign against the Jingao. From that period, the Great Wall was contributed to the exploitation of farmland in northern and western China, and to the growth of the trade route that came to be known as the Silk Road. In 121 BC to 20 years, project of construction was started on the Hexi Wall, generally known as the side wall between Yongdeng, now in Gansu, in the east, and Lake Lopnu, now in Xinjiang, in the west. According to Juan Hanijan, the strong points set up along the wall include beacon every 5 li, a tower every 10 li, a fort every 30 li, and a castle every 100 li. The main work on the wall during the Dong-Eastern Han period 25 to 20 CE took place during the reign of Liu Jiu, who in 38 ordered the repair of 4 parallel lines of the Great Wall. South of the Hexi Wall, the Great Wall served not only for defense but also to centralize control of trade and travel. During the Wei dynasty, the Great Wall was repaired and extended as a defense against attacks from the Junzhong and Khitan tribes in north. According to Wei Shui, Mingyuan Ji, History of Wei, Chronicle of Emperor Mingyuan, in 417, the 8th of the reign of Mingyuan Di, a part of the Great Wall was built south of Chanchuan from Chichen, now in Hebei, to Yuan, now in Inner Mongolia in the west. extending more than 620 miles. During the reign of Tiwadi, a lower and thinner wall of rammed earth was built around the capital as a complement to the Great Wall. Starting from Gungling in the east, it extended to the eastern side of the Hung He, forming a circle around Datong. In 549, after the Donghui kingdom moved its capital east to Yi, it also built a segment of the Great Wall in the area of contemporary Shaanxi province. In order to strengthen its northern frontier and prevent invasion from the west by the Bei Zhao, the Bei Kui kingdom launched several big construction projects that were nearly as extensive in scope as the building projects of the Qin dynasty. In 552, a segment was built on the northwest border, and only 3 years later, the emperor ordered the recruitment of 1.8 million workers to repair and extend other sections. The construction took place between the south entrance of Jiang Pass near Beijing and Datong in Shaanxi. In 556, a new fortification was set up in the east and extended to the Yellow Sea. The following year, second wall was built inside the Great Wall within modern Shaanxi, beginning in the vicinity of Laoying east of Pingyuan, extending to the east beyond Yemen Pass and Pingjing Pass, and ending in the area around Jingjuan in Shaanxi. In 563, the Emperor Wuqingdi of the Bei Kui had a segment repaired along the Taihang Mountains, that is the part of the Great Wall found today in the area around Laogun, Guchang and Fufing in Shaanxi and Hebei. In 565, the inner wall built in 557 was repaired and a new wall was added that started in the vicinity of Jingyuan, extended to the Jiang Pass in the east, and then joined the outer wall. The segments repaired and added during the Bei Kui period totaled some 900 miles, and towns and barracks were established at periodic intervals to garrison the new sections. In 579, in order to prevent invasions of the Beizhou kingdom by the Tujie, a group of Eastern Turks, and the Khaitan, the Emperor Jing started a massive rebuilding program on areas of the wall located on the former Bei Kui kingdom, starting at Amen in the west and ending at Jesi in the east. During the Sui dynasty 581 to 618, the Great Wall was repaired and improved 7 times in an effort to defend the country against attacks from the Tujie. After the Tang dynasty 618-9707 replaced the Sui, the country grew much stronger militarily, defeating the Tujie in the north, and was no need for repairs for additions. During the Song dynasty 960-1279, however, the Liu and Jin peoples in the north were a constant threat. The Song rulers were forced to withdraw to the south of the lines of the Great Wall built by the Queen Han and Northern dynasties. Many areas on both sides of the wall were subsequently taken over by the Liu 907-1125 and Jin dynasties 1115 to 1234. When the Song rulers had to retreat even farther to the south of the Yangtze River, Changjiang, repairs to the wall of extensions of it were no longer feasible. Limited repairs were carried out once in 10,056 during Liu times, but only in the area between the Yaji and Hangtong rivers. In 1115, after the Jin dynasty was established, work was performed on 2 defensive lines at Mingchang. The old wall there, previously called the Washu Wall or Junyuan Port, ran westward from a point north of Ulhana, then wound through the Hailatu mountains, turning to the north and then to the west again, finally ending at the Nanushai River. The second of the lines was the new Minchang Wall, also called the Inner Lin Wall or the Jin Trench, which was constructed south of the old wall. It started in the west from Bend in the Huang He and ended at the Shungari River. During the Yuan Mongol dynasty 1206 to 1368, the Mongols controlled all of China as well as other parts of Asia and sections of Europe. As a defensive structure, the Great Wall was of little significance to them. However, some forts and key areas were repaired and garrisoned in order to control commerce and to limit the threat of rebellions from the Chinese Han and other nationalities. Rulers during the Ming dynasty 1368 to 1644 ceaselessly maintained and strengthened the Great Wall to prevent another Mongolian invasion. The majority of the work took place along the old walls built by the Bi Kui. Most of the Great Wall that stands today is the result of work done during the reign of the Hongzai Emperor 1487-1505. Starting west of Jiang Pass, this part of the wall was split into south and north lines, respectively named the inner and outer walls. Along the wall were many strategies or passes, that is fortresses and gates. Among them were Jiang, Daoma and Jinjing passes. The three closest to the Ming capital, Beijing. Together they were referred to as the three inner passes. Farther west were Yanmen, Ningao and Piantou passes, known as the three outer passes. Both the inner and outer passes were of key importance in protecting the capital, were usually heavily garrisoned. After the Qing dynasty, 1644-1911 to 12, replaced the Ming, there was a change in ruling strategy called Hayaryu Maulification, wherein the king tried to pacify the leaders and peoples of Mongolia, Tibet and other nationalities by not interfering with local social, cultural or religious life. Because of the success of that strategy, the Great Wall was repaired less frequently and it gradually fell into ruin. Design of the fortifications. The Great Wall had three major components: passes, signal towers, beacons and walls. Passes were major strongholds along the wall, usually located at such key positions as intersections with trade routes. The ramparts of many passes were faced with huge bricks and stones, with dirt and crushed stones as pillar. The bastions measured some 30 feet high and 30 to 16 feet wide at the top. Within each pass were access ramps for horses and ladders for soldiers. The outside parapet was crenellated and the inside parapet was low wall about 3 feet high that prevented people and horses from falling off the top. In addition to serving as an access point for merchants and other civilians, the gate within the pass was used as an exit for the garrison to counterattack raiders or to send out patrols. Under the gate arc, there was typically a huge double door or wood bolts, and locker rings were set in the inner panel of each door. On top of each gate was a gate tower that served as a watchtower and command post. Usually it stood 1 to 3 stories high and was constructed either of wood or of bricks and wood. Built outside the gate, where an enemy was most likely to attack, was Wencheng, a semicircular or polygonal parapet that shielded the gate from direct assault. Extending beyond the most strategic Wenchengs was an additional line of protection. The Lucheng, which was often topped by a tower, used to watch those beyond the wall and to direct troop movements in battles waged there. Around the gate entrance there was often a moat that was formed in the process of digging earth to build the fortifications. Signal towers were also called beacons, beacon terraces, smoke mounts, mounts or kiosks. They were used to send military communications. Beacon fires or lanterns during the night or smoke signals in the daytime. Other methods such as raising banners, beating clappers, or firing guns were also used. Signal towers often built on hilltops for maximum visibility were self-contained high platforms or towers. The lower levels contained rooms for soldiers as well as stables, sheepfolds, and storages. The wall itself was the key part of the defensive system. It usually stood 21.3 feet wide at the base and 19 feet at the top, with an average height of 23 to 26 feet, or a bit lower on steep hills. The structure of the wall varied from place to place, depending on the availability of building materials. Walls were made of tempered earth sandwiched between wooden boards, adobe bricks, a brick, and stone. Where an enemy was most likely to attack was a wenching, a semicircular polygonal parapet that shielded the gate from direct assault. Extending beyond the most strategic wenchings was an additional line of protection. The lucheng, which was often topped by a tower used to watch those beyond the wall and to direct troop movements in battles, waged there. Around the gate entrance there was an open moat that was formed in the process of digging earth to build the fortifications. Signal towers were also called beacons, beacon terraces, smoke mounts, mounts or kiosks. They were used to send military communications. Beacon or fires or lanterns during the night or smoke signals in the daytime. Other methods such as raising banners, beating clappers or firing guns were also used. Signal towers, often built on hilltops for maximum visibility, were self-contained high platforms or towers. The lower levels contained rooms for soldiers as well as stables, shipboards, and storage areas. The wall itself was the key part of the defensive system. It usually stood 21.3 feet wide at the base and 19 feet at the top, with an average height of 23 to 26 feet, or a bit lower on steep hills. The structure of the wall varied from place to place depending on the availability of building materials. Walls were made of tempered earth sandwiched between wooden boards, adobe bricks, a brick, and stone. Earth sandwiched between wooden boards. Stone mixture, rocks or peeling, and planks. Some sections made use of existing river diks. Others used rugged mountain terrain such as cliffs and gorges to take the place of man-made structures. In the western deserts, the walls were often simple structures of rammed earth and adobe. Many eastern ramparts, such as those near Battling, were faced with stone and included a number of secondary structures and devices. On the inner side of such walls, placed at small intervals, were arched doors called jawn, which were made of bricks or stones. Inside each jawn were stone or brick steps leading to the top of the battlement. On the top, on the side facing outwards, stood 7-foot high crenelles called dakau. On the upper part of the dakau were large openings used to watch and shoot at attackers. And on the lower part were small openings or loopholes through which defenders could also shoot at intervals of about 650 to 1000 feet. There was a crenellated platform rising slightly above the top of the wall and protruding from the side that faced attackers. During battle, the platform provided a commanding view and made it possible to shoot attackers from the side as they attempted to scale the wall with ladders. On several platforms were simply structured huts called pifang, which provided shelter for the guards during storms. Some platforms, as with signal towers, had 2 or 3 stories and could be used to store weapons and ammunition. Those at Badaling commonly had 2 stories with accommodations for more than 10 soldiers on the lower level. There were also drainage ditches on the walls to shield them for damage by excessive rainwater. Each major stronghold along the wall was hierarchically linked or network of military and administrative commands. During the rule of Singhongadi, areas or zones, a post chief was assigned to each zone. Together they were known as the 9 border garrisons. The Great Wall has long been incorporated in Chinese mythology and popular symbolism. And in the 20th century it came to be regarded as a national symbol. Above the east gate, Dongmen at Shanai Pass is an traditional division between Chinese civilization and the barbarian lands to the north. Despite the wall's cultural significance, roadways have been cut through it at several points and vast sections have suffered centuries of neglect. In the 1970s, a segment near Simatai, 68 miles northeast of Beijing, was dismantled for building materials, but it was subsequently rebuilt. Other areas have also been restored, and it is the pride of China. Thanks for watching.